Obesity. It's a word we hear all the time, and we think we know exactly what it means. But what if I told you that our modern scientific understanding is only telling us half the story? In this explainer, we're going to look at this really complex issue through two totally different lenses: modern science and ancient wisdom. Let's dive in. Okay, so first, let's kick things off with what's familiar to most of us, right? The biomedical view. From this perspective, obesity is basically a problem of numbers, something we can measure, we can quantify, and we can track. So what does that actually mean? Well, in the medical world, it's defined as a chronic condition where your body accumulates so much excess fat that it actually starts to harm your health. It's very clear, it's very direct, and it focuses entirely on the physical state of the body. And it all boils down to one key number. That number comes from the body mass index, or BMI. The moment your BMI hits 30 or higher, you've officially crossed the clinical line into obesity. It's a simple, straightforward metric that's become the standard for diagnosis all over the world. But here's where it gets really interesting. What if that number on the scale, what if that excess weight is just the branch? You know, the part of the problem you can see? What if the real issue is the root, something much deeper, hidden inside? This question is what opens the door to our second perspective. All right, so to explore that idea, we need to completely shift our perspective. Let's look at this through the lens of traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM. This framework isn't about numbers on a scale at all. It's about a whole different way of seeing and understanding what's going on inside our bodies. In TCM, obesity has a name, Fei Peng, and it's not seen as just an accumulation of fat. Instead, they see it as a buildup of pathological metabolites. Think of these as unwanted byproducts that clog up the system when the body's vital energy, or qi, isn't flowing correctly. So it's less about having too much of something and more about the body not functioning the way it should. So what are these metabolites really? Well, TCM points to three main culprits: phlegm, dampness, and turbidity. Now, I know, these don't sound like medical terms. The best way to think about it is to imagine a thick, heavy fog or a swampy feeling inside your body. It slows everything down, makes you feel heavy, and keeps your systems from running at full power. That's the core idea. And this slide really gets to the heart of the difference. The biomedical view is all about external factors and a measurable imbalance, calories in versus calories out. But TCM looks inward. It's focused on internal dysfunction and an energetic imbalance within the body's organ systems. Two totally different starting points. On the biomedical side, you've got the usual suspects, right? That classic energy imbalance, our genetic lottery, not moving around enough, and even sleep. It turns out, getting less than 6.5 hours a night can seriously mess with your body's insulin sensitivity. Now look at the TCM causes. They seem kind of similar on the surface, but the reasoning is completely different. In TCM, when they say the spleen, they mean your entire digestive function, not just the organ. So greasy foods don't just add calories, they actually weaken that whole system. And emotional stress, it's not just a trigger for binge eating. It literally causes liver qi stagnation, which blocks the flow of energy and messes with digestion. Even being inactive is seen differently. It injures the spleen, harming the very system that's supposed to turn your food into energy. Okay, so we've got different causes. That means we're going to have completely different ways of diagnosing the problem too. It really comes down to looking for two totally separate sets of clues. One is all about quantity, the other is all about quality. Western medicine, of course, relies heavily on the BMI chart. It's a super straightforward system. It categorizes your weight, it tells you your associated health risks, all based on a simple calculation with your height and weight. It's measurable, it's standardized, it's simple. But here's the pivot. While modern medicine is busy measuring the outside with scales and charts, TCM practitioners are looking for clues on the inside. They're trying to read the body like a map to find the real source of the imbalance. And one of their go-to tools is, believe it or not, the tongue. To a trained eye, the tongue tells a whole story about your internal health. For instance, if your tongue is swollen and has a greasy white coating, that points right back to that phlegm damp we talked about. A pale tongue with teeth marks on the side, that suggests a qi deficiency, a fundamental lack of energy. It's pretty amazing. So we have two very different ways of seeing the problem, and two ways of diagnosing it. But what about treatment? Well, this is where it gets really powerful, because we don't have to choose. We can actually integrate the two approaches into one big, comprehensive toolbox. Let's just take acupuncture, for example. From a modern scientific view, we now know it's not magic. It actually helps regulate appetite hormones like leptin and ghrelin. From the TCM view, it's activating your metabolism to clear out that internal fog. And guess what? Both sides agree it has a calming effect on the nervous system, which helps cut down on stress eating. And get this, there's a fascinating technique called ear acupuncture. By targeting tiny points on the ear like hunger and shenmin, which translates to the spirit gate, it can help suppress appetite and calm cravings. They often use these tiny little seeds called ear seeds, so it's not even invasive. And the sources we looked at cite an effective rate of around 85%. Pretty incredible.
Okay, let's talk about diet, because in TCM, it's not just about counting calories or macros. The how and when you eat are considered just as crucial as what you're actually eating.
There's this famous old saying that just nails the whole philosophy perfectly. The idea is to have your biggest meal in the morning when your digestive energy is at its peak and your smallest meal at night. It's all about working with your body's natural daily rhythms, not fighting against them. And what should you limit? Well, sugar is seen as something that weakens the spleen, that digestive function, and creates even more of that internal dampness. Dairy is thought to be mucus-forming, and this one might surprise you. Too many cold or raw foods like iced drinks or huge raw salads are believed to put out the digestive fire, which weakens your ability to process any food efficiently. So, after all that, how do we bring these two worldviews together? How do we actually get the full picture? Well, the biomedical goal is crystal clear. Reduce calories, lose weight, manage your health risks. The TCM goal, well, it sounds a lot more poetic, doesn't it? But it's just as practical. Fortify the spleen means improve digestion. Transform phlegm means clear out that internal gunk. Course the liver means get your energy flowing smoothly to reduce stress. You see? They're not fighting each other, they're actually working in perfect harmony. And by combining them, we can finally shift our whole focus. We're no longer just trimming the branch, managing the number on the scale. We can finally get down to nourishing the root, addressing the deep underlying imbalance that caused the problem in the first place. Looking at obesity this way is, well, it's a powerful example. And it really leaves you with a final kind of provocative thought. What other massive, modern problems could we finally start to solve if we got better at combining the very best of ancient wisdom with the incredible power of modern science?